All right, guys, we scored ourselves a Made in USA Jackson. It's the Desert Sunset custom paint job on this. Scored this on Facebook Marketplace for about $400. It actually was $400 exact. And as we see here, the frets are in bad shape. It's all rusty. They don't look like they're indented, so I think it is pretty savable. It's still playable. We got the humbucker. Might be a JC 1200 maybe. We got our pots, 2 pots and 3 switches. I'm not sure why there's 2. Most of them I see are 3, but you know, can't really complain. It's already is what it is. Can't really say much about it. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks nice on video, but when you see it up close in person, it's a whole different story. We got a lot of belt buckle rash going on here. As we move up the neck, you see all this clear coat checking and a huge crack right near the nut. There's not really much you can really do about that. It is repairable, don't get me wrong, but there is a lot of character in this guitar. Absolutely beautiful. Cannot get over this paint job. I know in the 80s all this was handmade, hand brushed, or not brushed, but airbrushed by hand at the time. So here's not the original case, I don't think, but inside we do have some goodies. Looks like a little napkin note or something. We got the original tremolo arm that goes with it. Some other tissues, pan. And here we have some other, which I did look at these. These are the fine tuning pegs. I believe they're just some extra ones that go in here. Just a couple extra there, and an Allen wrench, of course. And what was pretty interesting in here was a set list. Looks like the person that it belonged to had this set list here, 3 pages long. I'm not sure what genre this may be. If you guys know, please leave a comment down below. It could help me out there a lot, just figuring out a little bit about it. I honestly don't know the history about it. All I know is that the person said their tenants left this behind in their basement when they moved out, and the owners didn't want anything to do with it. It was some story like that. It was just pretty much abandoned downstairs for a couple months until the seller listed it online for about $1,200. I was able to talk him down to $400 cash. So I think it is a huge steal for this guitar. And you guys are gonna see me restoring this and redoing, cleaning up the frets, string changing, polishing it up, making it look real pretty. So right now it sits just as is. Comes with a little strap as well, which is really nice. I can tell it's been here for God knows how long. It's pretty dried up, but it's still pretty nice. I'll leave it in there. But yeah, absolutely beautiful, guys. I'm so in love. Now let's take it to the bench and get it started. All right, so we opened the back cavities. As you can tell, right here we have a little color. It says Sunset Graphic. Got a little chipped off right here. I see. There's no date on it, but obviously if I did some research, so I can date this from 87 to 88. Here we have a little bit of shielding going on. Some pretty good soldering joints. I see everything is grounded properly. I'm just checking for any loose connections. Everything does seem everything seems original here. I will test this out later to make sure there's signal, but I can do that at the very end. Everything does look good. I don't see anything suspicious. You know, everything looks okay. I like how they did the shielding in there. That's really nice. Here's another look at the pocket in there. I'm gonna move up. Fortunately, I'm still bummed out about this checking on it, but hey, it's character on the guitar. It's been used, it's been gigs, you know, it's the life of a guitar, you know? It's not a case queen at all, as you can tell. So let's get started here. I'm just gonna start taking all these screws out and everything to make sure I'm ready to buff it out. There's a very rough texture to it just because of all that dirt, sweat, and grime you can see just everywhere. So I'm gonna start taking off all this stuff, take the pickups out a little bit, just clean them out really nice. And then the fun part, when we start looking into the neck, very dry, oxidated frets, but that's no issue. We're gonna get that cleaned up here in a little bit. All right, so we got the bridge off, we got the pots sunk down a little bit, same with the switches. Took everything off on a little magnetic bowl here. Right now I got the pickups, the bridge pickup out. Let's take a look. Yep, a J50B, very nice. A little dirty, but no worries, we'll get it all cleaned up. The wiring inside looks very nice as well, like I pointed out earlier. There's so much grime on this thing, I can't wait to get it cleaned up. Very intrigued how these pickups weren't painted. I don't think these were changed at all. I think this is original, but we'll keep digging in and see what we can find. But there's this pickup here, a J50B bridge pickup. I could feel some wax on it, so definitely was wax coated, which is very interesting. That's good. It's a shame that this is peeling away. I wish I could kind of find color to kind of fill it in, but like I said, it's a road-worn guitar. There's not really much you can do about it. There's a serial number that you could take a better look at, J4440. We're getting there. I want to hit it up with some glass cleaner here just to get rid of the grime before I start cutting and buffing. I'm just in love with this paint job. It looks so nice. Let me continue on and take these two other pickups off and see what we can find. All right, so I got this pickup off. The cover just comes right off. I'm gonna take both of them off and give them a nice cleaning. Here's the coils. And if you look down here, it'll say Jackson pickups made in USA. And this is a J100 single coil with these little rubber feet to act as like little bushings for the height. So I'm gonna take this one off too, just get it all cleaned up, keep all my parts neatly over here in this magnet bowl, and man, let's just keep it going. All right, so I got this neck pickup off, Jackson pickups made in USA, J100. I noticed this one is upside down compared to how this one is. Like you can just tell by the lettering. I'm not sure why, but if it's meant to be that way, it's meant to be. I'm not gonna change anything. Keep it as is. Same, it's pretty much what I expected with these pickup covers. It's a shame these weren't painted as well. Maybe in the custom shop order, they weren't ordered to be painted. I'm not sure, but you know, what can you do? You can't really do much now, but I'm almost ready to buff. I'm about to hit it up with glass cleaner here in a second. Get all this heavy grime off before I start cutting and buffing. Very excited to finally get to this neck. Very eager to just remove all this oxidation and make it look all shiny and hydrated, make it look the way it's supposed to be. So yeah, let's keep it going. We're almost there. All right, so we're gonna start off with step one here. We're gonna use Meguiar's Pro Speed compound. This is my go-to compound when I start buffing and everything. I have this wool, little cloth pad here on the, just a little impact. You don't have to use an impact, obviously, if you have a cordless or something with a drill bit to put this on. You can buy them on eBay. They come with other pads and stuff, so this would help a lot instead of doing it by hand. Just make sure you go slow. Do not stay in one place when you're doing this to burn the clear coat. So what I'm doing here is just pretty much trying to remove all like the micro scratches that are in there. It's hard to tell, all that grime and stuff. It should come off with this because this is a cut, and then we'll move on to step two and then step three. So I'm gonna put a little bit on here, dab it up, and then just start working my way around, do the back, the neck, and then just do it again with step two. All right, we're gonna move on to step two, same Meguiar's Mirror Glaze, Ultra Pro Finishing Polish. This is a step two, changed up the pad, same speed, I'm on 2, but I don't press it down all the way. I press it down about half. Something like that, just keeping the speed normal, moving as I'm going to make sure I don't burn through. As you can tell, the black is already looking a lot more in depth. There are a couple scratches, but I'm hoping this step starts to remove all that and starts to bring out that nice gloss. All right, we finished up with step 3. Now we're gonna move on to the neck. I'm gonna be using 50% isopropyl rubbing alcohol. And they say to not use alcohol on these types of fretboards, but when you're using it just for one time, you should be fine. I've used this plenty of times and I've never used it again. Afterwards, after I'm done applying all that stuff, I either use some F1 oil or some other type of hydration oil for guitar necks. So this is just a one-time thing just to get all this grime and grease and all this, try to get the oxidation off. But later I'm gonna hit this with a Dremel and some stainless steel cleaner just to get all this off. And I will be taping off each fret as I go just so I don't hit any of the wood. So right now we're just gonna take off all the grime, and you're about to see this paper towel turn black here in a second with all this just gunk coming off. So I'm gonna take some final pictures here for before and after just to see what it looks like. So just one last look here at the dry fretboard. In a little bit here, we're gonna see a nice hydrated breathing fretboard soon. So let's get it started. All right, finally the fun part here. We got some Brasso metal polish. I have some here on this little plastic. I use a cotton swab to apply a little bit on here, and then I hit each one with this Dremel with this felt tip. And I know every Dremel is different, but I usually go around, I think 3 or 4 around that speed, and I just keep it moving back and forth. And then I work my way down, tape off each fret until I get to the end. Here is the final look of all this corrosion. This will come off very easily. If it doesn't come off with this metal Brasso, what I usually do is I get some, I believe I have 4000 grit, and I use a little bit of the isopropyl alcohol to kind of wet sand it. You don't want to use water on this because water doesn't dry as quickly as alcohol. So alcohol would be your best bet to dip your sandpaper in and then just wet sand it carefully. So, and that's only if it doesn't come off. In my opinion, I think I might have to hit it up with a little bit of 4000 grit and then work my way up 5000, 6000 grit. And then I can hit it with this metal polish. But we'll see what it gives me on the first run here. It may work, it may not, but we never know. So let's give it a shot. All right, so I'm just gonna demo it real quick. I'm just gonna take a little dab of this Brasso and apply it on here pretty generously. I'm not gonna be shy with it because there's a lot, I have a full bottle. So let's just apply it. This should be good. Sorry if the camera's shaky, I'm trying to do it with one hand. I'm gonna turn it on slow and then work my way up on the speed. Just gonna wipe it down real quick. It's a little warm. Take it off. I'm comparing it to the other ones. It's a lot better. So much cleaner. We still have a few more to go, but it's looking good. Nice and shiny. I went up to the 5th fret so far. So right now it's looking real clean. And then we're gonna knock these down, take some more before and after pictures and everything. So we're almost there. This is the most fun part for me, honestly, is making these frets shiny. All right, we got the fret work done. We got them all shiny now. Finally, we got that corrosion off. On one of them, I did have to use a little bit of the wet sanding with isopropyl alcohol. I went up to 7000 grit. As you can see, so much cleaner now. No corrosion. And now I'm going to use my hydrating oil to get every single fret. I might do it like maybe 2 or 3 times. Just let it soak really nice. It's a very well deserving dried up fretboard that needs all that oil. So I'm gonna go pretty generous on it. As you can tell, I'm very generous with the oil just to make sure it soaks in really nice. I use D'Addario lemon oil cleaner and conditioner. I have used F1 oil. I've used other oils, but this one always stands out to me, not just because of the smell, but it doesn't stay tacky on the fretboard after it dries. A lot of other oils tend to just kind of get sticky, and I do not like that at all, because when you're playing and you're feeling all that and it gets over the strings, you know, it's just not a good feeling. But this stuff right here, I highly recommend. I'm not even sponsored by them. I'm just saying, like, this stuff is very, very nice. Highly recommend it. So right now it's just soaking in. I'm gonna let it soak for maybe 2 minutes or so. Come back, wipe it down, do one more coat, and then I should be good, and then I'll see if it needs another one or not. But right now it's pretty wet on there. Like I said, I'm pretty generous, not afraid of putting a lot on. I have a little paper towel here. I could just start pressing the oil in. Did go a little heavy on it, but it doesn't matter. Definitely needs it. I don't know how long this guitar has been sitting for. See, not as much dirt is coming off of it anymore, which is a good sign. So I'm just gonna go to each one and then go my way down. And then I'll apply another coat here in a couple minutes. All right, now let's take a look at this nice fretboard now after it's been wiped down a couple times with oil. Frets have been polished out, making them look really nice. There's still a little bit of oil on there, I see. I'm gonna wipe that off. But so far it looks very, very hydrated. To be honest, I might hit it up with one more light coat just to get it sunken in very well and hydrated. But from what it was, the frets are not all corroded. Now we got some nice shine. Strings will be very bendy on this when it hits your vibrato. Hopefully you don't hear any of the coarse frets, but they don't really feel coarse, to be honest. Because like with other guitars I've had with my nail, I could feel like how coarse they are, but these are very, very nice. So got the guitar over the guitar body all polished out. Step 1, 2, and 3. As you can tell, there are some scratches, as you can see from an angle. But with that will not come off unless you wet sand the whole guitar, in different, just a wet sanding process. So you start at 1,000, or no, around 2,000, 3, 4, 5, and at 7 maybe, and then buff it. But since this is a very delicate paint job, and there are some cracks, as you can tell, like right there, I just don't want to risk chipping away any of the clear coat. So I'm just gonna have to live with it. To be honest, from far away, turn off the light, you can't really tell. No one's gonna come up that close to the guitar anyway. So I also have some strings right here I'm gonna throw on. I'm gonna use the 9.5 gauge. These are my absolute favorite gauge ever, tuned down to D standard. And yeah, we're almost there, guys. We're gonna do one more little coat of this oil, wipe it down, not hydrate, but lubricate my nut here. Make sure these threads are all good. The bridge I cleaned out with some degreaser. Took every little piece out and cleaned them out individually with a little chemical brush. Obviously, all that, discoloration cannot really be removed. I'm not gonna go that far because this guitar, like I said, it just doesn't really matter to me, in my opinion, like what the bridge really looks like. I mean, it's original, everything's there, it works, it locks up very nice, strings are tight. All right, so inside the house, I had an extra Jackson case with 3 working latches on them. So this guitar definitely deserves a real good case. And there's not a lot of wiggle room, which is exactly what I wanted. Headstock doesn't hit anything either. Here's the finished product. There's so much depth now in that clear coat. Got the pickups cleaned up, the bridge working as well. Got it nice and cleaned up. All the parts move and work as they should. The fretboard looks nice and shiny. Frets looking good. Still a lot of life left in them, to be honest. Put the strings through the tuning pegs at the top. A lot of people don't like that style, but I kind of dig it. I do it to all my other guitars, so why not? Paint job looks phenomenal. I'm absolutely happy that those polishing compounds and everything got rid of all that grit and everything. So I can't wait to show you guys a demo of this on my EVH 5153 amp. I will make a separate video about that just because I don't want to make this video like 20 minutes long. Plus, if you guys ever want to go back and hear the demo, you don't have to skip through this whole restoration process, and you can just click on the other link to go watch it. But for now, this is going to be my new toy for a long time. I don't think I can really get rid of this one. This is just something that has a lot of memory and value to me, especially going and traveling with my dad, like 40 minutes to go drive and get it. I always go with my dad to do all these guitar adventures, so this is kind of his memories. It'd be kind of sad to let something like this go, because every time I look at my guitars that I have, my dad's always been by my side and always motivated me to do all these, finding all these treasures and like restoring all these guitars. So there's a lot of value and sentimental value in this. So this is something that I'm very, very happy that I jumped on, and I appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. There will definitely be a tone video coming up very soon. But until then, thank you guys for watching again. Like, subscribe, comment, share with any other Jackson fans out there. And I appreciate you guys watching the video.